So the first question is, what does it mean to be over optimized? This is Local SEO Tactics, where each week we bring you actionable advice and quick tips on how to make improvements to your website to get found online. This week, we're going to be talking about over-optimization in Google and what is it, how to prevent it, and really how to correct it if that is the case for what you got going on. So pay attention, take some notes as always, and if you pull some good nuggets out of here, put them into play on your website right now. That's going to help you in the long run. Stay tuned. Hey guys and gals, we want to talk to you again about our Review Lead product. One particular feature that I want to talk about is something new that was released by Google. They launched a new feature for if you're a customer leaving a review for a business. If that business responds to your review, you're like, hey Bob, thanks for sharing your experience. Glad we could help. Come back anytime. Before that reply from the business owner would be posted online for the public to see. But now the actual person that left the review will get an email from Google with that reply. So that really helps you connect, with your customer.
Right.
And as business owners, it gives us a reason to be alerted to these reviews and then to reply to them. So an awesome feature with Review Lead is no matter, this is just Google that update was for, but no matter what portal people are leaving a review on, Review Lead is going to immediately give you a ping saying, hey, Bob left a review on Facebook, Bob left a review on Yelp, Bob left a review on Google My Business. Whatever it is, you as the business owner now have a reason to reply to that. And, I would say you should reply to that because other businesses are going to reply to this. Not only is it visible to the public, that reply, like it was before, particularly on Google My Business, but now that person is going to almost kind of expect you to,
Right.
So you want to build that trust, build that goodwill with that customer, and they're going to be a champion and help spread the word. So,
And it's becoming part of our business culture. I mean,
Yeah.
It just really is. It's how you answer the phone. It's how you conduct yourself, how you treat the customer.
Yep.
It's all part of our culture. Now, some of us old timers may not like that, but it's reality. It's, I've got a 12 and a 13-year-old that says, hey, I'm not watching that show. It's got, 2 stars.
right.
It's like, okay.
Right. Yeah.
So-
That's how you're going to make a decision? Well, yeah, it is.
Right. But that's the reality we live in.
So check this out. There's a lot of other features, but I wanted to kind of highlight that one, being that it's relevant to the recent Google update to the GMB. So check it out, reviews.intrix.com. If you don't know what's going on with your current reviews, we'll give you a free audit. There's going to be a big blue button you're going to see there. Click it. We'll do a quick review, audit on your business, show you where you're getting reviews, what your average scores are, and where you're missing out, where you could be getting more reviews. In addition to all these other great features it has, like that review notification, so you can be alerted to take quick action and respond to that customer. There's a ton of other stuff. So check it out, reviews.intrix.com. All right, guys, we'll jump right into today's episode. Grab a piece of paper, open up your notepad, whatever you got to do, take some notes, and let's get after it. Hey, everyone, welcome back to Local SEO Tactics. Jesse Dolan, joined by Bob Brennan, as usual. And this week, we're going to talk about over-optimization. If you're trying to do some SEO on your website, it's kind of tempting to just optimize the heck out of everything. Search engine optimization, it's optimization is right in there as a third word in that acronym, right? But you can overdo it. Yes, you can have too much of a good thing. So today we're going to break down just a few of the kind of the guidelines, that you want to abide by, a few of the things you want to avoid, and just how to know, if you're over optimizing and what all this means. So the first question is, what does it mean to be over optimized? So we're going to kind of break that down and talk about a few things that are, if you're doing this, you're going to be in danger. The first thing is like keyword stuffing, right? So in a few of our episodes, we've talked about where you want to use keywords to optimize your website, and you still want to do that. You still want to optimize your website, right? The optimization is not leaving SEO, but you can do it too much. So keyword stuffing is probably the most classic example of what you don't want to do. So if your phrase is, let's just say plumber, we use plumbing as an example a lot. You don't want to use plumber, 17 times on your page. There's a lot of tools you can just Google out there for SEO audit and things like that. You can use our tool on our website to do a free SEO audit as well on your website or your web page. But a lot of these are going to give you like a keyword density or how many times you're using certain keywords. Really, at the end of the day, a good rule of thumb is if you've already communicated to Google what this page is about by your keyword, you don't need to just kind of, cram it down their throat. They're going to see that as being spammy. And some tactics for that would be using your keyword in the page title, the page meta description, your H1, your H2, your H3, just repeating it over and over in every single spot, particularly with absolutely no variations anywhere. Every image, including it, every alt tag in the image, including it, links on the page that are linking to other pages for your anchor text, including it. That's just overdoing it. That's not realistic. If you're Google, that's looking like the page was obviously over optimized for that keyword. It's not going to be a user, friendly page. If you're a human being reading this page, you kind of know after that first headline and maybe some of the first paragraphs or two, or some of the first bullet points.
That's really Google's algorithm is basically, you could get by with all of that over let's say the last 2-3 years or whatever the case is. But like you were telling me with their artificial intelligence, it doesn't need, it can detect that, and it needs to read properly and play out properly. And if it isn't, and it's all jammed, then it's going to go backwards.
Yeah. I mean, going back a number of years, you could do, tricks, like at the very bottom of your page, right? You could just stuff a bunch of keywords in there or variations on your keyword in there. And some people would even, like, if you have a white page background, they would actually put them at the very bottom and then make that text white, right? So it'd blend in, and as a user, you wouldn't see that, but it would still, quote, show up as text on there. Right. There's things like that were done just to kind of game Google. But at the end of the day, they're not good for user experience. And that's what Bob's talking about, is the algorithms are starting to take into account not only what's kind of a spammy tactic and where you're really trying to be too aggressive, but they're also really looking at now, like, user intent. What was the intent of this search and the user experience? We know as humans, just like Google now knows, again, if you're just mashing that keyword all over the place, it doesn't read good, right? That's not good content. If you just say, awesome plumber, emergency plumber, best plumber in town, you don't need to keep repeating that same word over and over. So if you have a page right now that's over optimized, in your opinion, you don't have to be alarmed. You can actually kind of reformat that page. Something that's pretty easy to do, so you don't have to completely trash the page and start over, which would be horrible, especially if that page has any kind of ranking in the index.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, you don't want to recreate that if you don't have to. Is to just change some of that out. You can go in there, and if you got your keyword, in every title tag, headline, everything else, put some variations in there. If you're talking plumber, plumbing service, best, drain unclogger in town, or whatever it is, you can come up with variations and not have to completely rewrite the crux of your entire page, but just detune it. Quit repeating that keyword over and over and over. And don't get me wrong. It's you want to have your keyword, in the page title, in the description, your H1 tag. You still want to use it, in those various places. But there's a fine line of abusing it and over optimizing, right? So we're not saying that these keywords don't matter. Right. Again, to the contrary, you just have to think about it, again, with kind of that intent of the search engine crawling bot and the users, that did you already communicate this? If you're telling a story to somebody, or maybe teaching somebody a lesson or whatever it is, if you say that same phrase over and over and over, they're going to get annoyed. That's not a good, that's not a good experience. Same thing here for that person that's reading your page. Once you type it up, if you think it's great, it's a great optimized page, I just crushed it on my keyword, read it back to yourself, right? See if you find it kind of annoying how many times you've put that keyword in there, or have a trusted relative or a friend or a coworker or somebody else kind of read it and just say, what do you think? And if they say, look, wow, obviously you're a plumber, you're really bashing that over my head. Right. That's a direct signal that's definitely over optimized. Kind of in that same vein, if your text in general is just really kind of hard to read, right? If you're not writing your paragraphs to be read by people, if you're only writing these things for the purpose of stuffing your keywords in there, that's not going to read well, right? I mean, Google's given a lot of credibility now to, again, that user experience and that readability. And not only are they doing that when they're crawling that, like your bounce rates, right? If I think we've all searched for something and landed on a website that's obviously over optimized, and you just know that this business, they might be a plumber, but
they're not local.
Maybe they're not local. Maybe they are even local, but the page is so obviously, spamming that keyword.
Right.
It kind of, you kind of distrust it a little bit, right? And you might even back out and choose somebody else, even if they're ranked a little bit lower, but they just look more legitimate. And that kind of speaks to that sentiment of the user experience and what Google's trying to do. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing a good job being a really good business and hopefully, getting reviews and doing other things to just be a good business, you don't need to spam the system anymore. You don't need to over optimize like you did a few years ago to get those rankings. Now you just have to clearly communicate, what you're trying to go after, what your category, what your keyword is, and just do it plain and simple, and make sure you're writing this text to be read by human beings. You're not writing it to be read just by the search engine bots for the purpose of identifying this is my keyword and that's the only reason for that page existing. That's going to get you taken down. So how do you know, in addition to, reading it or what people are giving you feedback on, if your website is over optimized, your pages aren't going to rank, right?
Right.
There was an update, Google Panda, a number of years ago that was kind of aimed at this, and Google's constantly been kind of tweaking that and going after that to, again, attack these bad user experience pages, these bad and over optimized pages. If you have some web pages that just suddenly kind of fall off the face of the earth, that's the first thing I would look at is pull up those pages, look at them. Again, if it's emergency plumber in every other sentence, that's just going to be super annoying to read. You know what I mean? And that's going to be an obvious reason why that page was either completely de-indexed or the rankings just fell off the face of the earth. Again, just like we were saying earlier, don't dismay, go back, see if you can kind of reorganize that page. I'd put a caveat on there. If that's one of like 17 pages you created that are very, very similar, going after just slight variations on that keyword, then you might want to get rid of some of those pages.
Right.
So you can be over optimized, not just on the actual page, right? Like any one specific individual page, your website in general can be over optimized. If you're creating slight variations and just pounding them in the ground with, again, 17 pages on plumber, 17 pages on plumbers, 17 pages on plumbing, the website in general is over optimized. You're going to have a larger problem on your hands. So if that's the case, what you're going to want to do is see, you don't want to re-engineer all those pages because that's going to be pointless. You kind of have a bigger problem with your overall content being over optimized. So if that's the case, you're going to want to do some research to find out which one of those pages, did rank the best or is currently ranking the best, getting the most traffic, things like that. Maybe it has the most backlinks coming to it. Find a winner, within that group of 17 pages in this example, and kind of detune or re-optimize that page. And the other ones can either stay out to pasture or you can delete them. There's different ways to kind of get those off your website, or maybe kind of loop those back to kind of give that juice back to the one that you are optimizing. And we're going to cover that in a different episode. So I'm going to kind of save that a little bit and how to silo some stuff and loop that back in. We don't want to get too far off tangent here. But that's going to be the case, again, if you got a single page or your website in general is over optimized, that's what you're going to want to do is pick that winner, re-engineer that page, kind of, detune it to make it not over optimized, and again, write it for that user's intent and that user experience, because that's what they're there for. If people are searching for something and they're bumping into your website, you're trying to provide them with an answer, right? Or a solution to their problem. You're not trying to cram down their throat what you're trying to get across for that particular keyword. That's not solving their problem. Right. And you ain't going to get anywhere nowadays if that's not the approach that you're taking. So at the end of the day, again, not to beat a dead horse here, but Google's entire kind of focus right now is to make sure that your website is geared towards the user intent and that user experience. Write these pages and these articles, for the user in mind. There's lots of good tools you can use out there. I think we've mentioned Yoast before as a WordPress plugin, particularly. They have like readability and SEO scores kind of built into their tool. So if you don't know maybe how to score some of this or grade it yourself, leverage a tool like that. Again, if you're using WordPress, definitely install Yoast and you use their internal grading systems to help you understand this. They have premium add-ons that can kind of help you even further, but just their free out-of-the-box plugin is going to do you some pretty good wonders in that. And again, if you just abide to that fact that you're creating this for humans, no longer keyword stuffing or getting that level of optimization, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. Again, in days gone by, this was kind of an easy thing to do. You could really just kind of mash keywords and stuff keywords all over the place and get ranks because other people weren't doing it. Nowadays, you can't do that. So not only are we talking about over optimization here, what is it, how to correct it, and kind of maybe how to guard against it. You really need to do other things for SEO, right? You could really literally get by before just doing that, and you could have a very high ranking website. That's not the case anymore. So if you're searching for SEO articles or how-tos, don't trust anything that's more than a couple years old, quite frankly.
Oh yeah.
Because there's going to be some tactics in there that just aren't allowed anymore by Google, and their algorithms are so much smarter. Again, we referenced, AI and machine learning. Things are just advancing at a pace that they never have been before, in the SEO world, at least. So if you need to optimize your website, which of course you do, we all constantly have to, there's a lot of on-page, a lot of off-page, and many other resources, which, we hope we're bringing you that week to week here. So that's about it for this week. If you like what we're doing, we'd love to hear from you. Intrix.com/show. Also leave us a review on iTunes, Intrix.com/iTunes. You're going to find a real quick tutorial on how to get on iTunes, leave a review. It's not super, super tough, but it's just not the most straightforward thing in the world. So we've got a real quick guide on how to do that. If you like what we're doing, we'd really love to hear from you. Let us know, we're putting out good content and bringing good value. And we just love to hear it. So if you keep leaving us reviews, we're going to keep reading them each week. This week, we got a 5-star review here from Chris PKKK. He says, "Clear the jungle, clear your head, get started." I'm assuming it's a he just by the spelling here, so I apologize actually. But the review says, "So much useful information about search engine optimization. It's good that there's a podcast who walks through the jungle of options. Especially as a beginner in SEO, I feel that I have a much clearer picture now and actionable advice. Thank you."
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Again, exactly what we're trying to do. Actionable, easy, digestible pieces for you to do. And this is not an expert, end all be all for SEO tactics. We're speaking to local business owners, marketing managers, salespeople. We're just trying to get found locally and get more exposure online. So appreciate the review, Chris, and keep them coming in, guys.